All right. So, welcome to this deep dive. It's the deep dive. We call this segment the AI Daily Deep Dive. And before we begin, I just want to let you know that this whole thing, all the research and all the information we're going to be talking about today for Saturday, March 22nd, 2025, all of this was done by AI. So we've got our AI working for us, processing all these reports, all these latest developments, and we're going to walk you through it all. And the way we're going to do it today is we're going to be tackling each story one at a time, cover it completely and then move on. That way it's all nice and clear for you. So get ready because there's a lot happening in AI right now.
Yeah, that's our goal as always, to really pull out the most important stuff from these AI generated reports and then put it all together in a way that makes sense. Give you a clear overview of what's going on in the world of AI, all the big stuff happening today.
Okay, so let's jump right in. The first story, and this is a pretty interesting one, involves TikTok. You know TikTok. Everybody knows TikTok.
Yeah.
And it looks like this AI startup, Perplexity, well, they've come out and said, hey, we might want to buy TikTok.
Yeah, that's right. Perplexity, they're the ones behind that AI search engine, and they put out a blog post saying, we're interested. And this all comes at a time when TikTok is, facing that deadline, that whole thing about separating from its parent company, ByteDance, because, well, the U.S. has some concerns, right?
Yeah.
So they've got to figure that out. Or, well, who knows? They might even get banned.
So why do they want to buy TikTok? What's the thinking there?
Well, they said in their blog post that they think they could combine their AI search technology with, all those videos that TikTok has. And they think that could make for a way better search experience. Imagine searching for something and instead of just getting text or a still image, you get a video, right? That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, that's definitely interesting how we might find information in the future. But Perplexity also seems to be trying to position themselves in a certain way with this, potential acquisition.
Oh, absolutely. They're really emphasizing that they're uniquely able to rebuild TikTok's algorithm without creating, a monopoly. They're pointing to their AI expertise and the fact that they're not part of any big tech company. They even call themselves little tech independent.
Yeah, and it's smart that they're addressing that monopoly concern. Remember earlier this month when President Trump said there were 4 groups interested in buying TikTok?
Yeah, and the whole reason behind all of this is that U.S. law, right? The one that says TikTok has to separate from ByteDance because of national security worries. The idea that the Chinese government could be influencing things. And this isn't the first time TikTok's been in hot water in the U.S.
No, not at all. Remember during President Trump's first term, there were those attempts to ban the app, and it even shut down for a bit. And then, of course, it came back when he got back into office. It's been a pretty wild ride for TikTok and everyone who uses it.
Oh, for sure. And Perplexity, they're joining a pretty interesting group of potential buyers. There's the People's Bid for TikTok, which is from Frank McCourt's Project Liberty. And then you've got the big tech players like Microsoft and Oracle, and even, Mr. Beast, that online guy, Jimmy Donaldson. Apparently he's part of a group looking at buying it too.
Wow, quite a mix of potential owners. But it sounds like Perplexity, they have some concerns about how things might go if one of those other groups buys TikTok.
Yeah, they laid it out pretty clearly in their statement. They're worried that if a bunch of investors get together and buy it, then ByteDance might still be able to, pull strings behind the scenes. They might still control that algorithm, which would defeat the whole purpose of the U.S. making them separate. And then their other concern is that if a big tech company buys TikTok, then that company would have way too much power. They'd be like a king of the short form video world, which wouldn't be good.
So it sounds like Perplexity is saying, hey, we're the good guys here. We're the responsible choice.
That's definitely the message they're sending. And they've also made some promises about what they'd do if they bought TikTok. They'd build all the infrastructure here in the U.S. with American data centers and everything under U.S. oversight.
Which would probably make the government happy, address those national security concerns. What else are they saying?
Okay, so this is interesting. They say they'd completely redo the recommendation algorithm, the For You page, that thing that makes TikTok TikTok. Well, they'd rebuild it from scratch. And get this, they're saying they'd make the new algorithm open source.
Open source. For a platform as big as TikTok, that's pretty unusual.
Yeah, totally. But they say it would make everything transparent, No more worries about secret algorithms messing with people. And one more thing. They say they'd add features to TikTok that let people cross-reference information from videos. So if you see something in a video, you could easily check if it's true or not.
And that makes sense for Perplexity, right? Since they're all about providing information. So they see their AI search stuff not just making TikTok better for users, but also helping to fight misinformation.
Exactly. It's a bold move for, a relatively new company to jump into such a big and messy situation. It'll be interesting to see if their bid goes anywhere, but yeah, it definitely adds another twist to the whole TikTok saga.
Okay, so let's move on. Next up, we've got an article from The New Yorker,
hmm
and it's by Jaron Lanier, and it's got a pretty interesting title. Your AI lover will change you.
Yeah, this one dives into, the idea of people actually falling in love with AI. And with all the crazy advancements in conversational AI, well, it's not as far-fetched as it used to be. Lanier even talks about like AI simulations of people becoming part of our social lives, maybe even showing up on social media.
I mean, it sounds like something out of a movie, but Lanier seems to be saying that technology is making it more and more possible.
He is. He points to how good conversational AI is getting, how these systems can be designed to like really pay attention to you, be loyal, and make you feel good. And in a world where, well, a lot of people feel lonely, that could be really appealing.
And Lanier doesn't stop there. He also talks about what might happen to society if these AI relationships become really common.
Right. He brings up the possibility that our values could change. Like maybe people will start choosing those easy, safe AI relationships over messy, complicated human ones. And then there's this whole debate about whether AI companions could actually help us get better at real relationships or if they'll just make us worse at connecting with each other.
The article also spends some time talking about the technology itself, like where AI is at right now.
Yeah, and Lanier's point is that, yeah, AI can talk like a human, but it can't really replicate everything about being human. It can't touch you, it can't smell anything, it can't be physically present. And all those subtle things like body language and social cues, AI can't do that yet. So even if these AI companions get super advanced, they won't be able to truly replace human relationships.
And Lanier gets pre-philosophical too, asking some big questions about all of this.
Oh, yeah. He questions whether AI can ever be truly conscious, like a human. And he suggests that there might be things about reality and creativity that are just beyond AI. He also wonders if AI might actually change what humans want and care about, and whether that'll be good or bad for us in the long run.
So what's Lanier's overall take? Is he freaking out about all this, or is he a little more optimistic?
He calls for what he calls cautious optimism. He says we need to be really thoughtful about AI as it keeps developing. He thinks AI companions could offer new ways of connecting and even help us understand ourselves better. But we have to be careful. We have to think about how they might affect our society and our own well-being. It's a good reminder that as this technology gets more powerful, we have to think about what it all means.
Okay, so from AI lovers, let's switch gears completely. The next story is about AI actually competing in, get this, Minecraft building contests.
Yeah, pretty cool, huh? This article talks about MC Bench, which is this platform a student, Adi Singh, created. And it's basically a way to test how creative different AI models can be within Minecraft.
Wait, so you're saying the AIs are actually playing Minecraft and building stuff?
Pretty much. So people give the AI models instructions like build a castle or whatever. And the AI, it generates the code to make that happen in Minecraft. Then all the creations are shown anonymously and people vote on which ones they like best.
That's a totally different way to measure AI performance.
Yeah.
Usually it's all about numbers and data.
That's exactly why Singh made MC Bench. He wanted to move away from those traditional benchmarks because they can be biased toward AIs that were trained on very specific data. With MC Bench, it's all about the visuals, what actually gets built. And everyone knows Minecraft, it's easy to understand. Plus, it's a safe environment to let AI experiment and be creative.
I'm impressed that this project has gotten so much attention, even from big names in the AI world.
Yeah, the article says that some volunteer developers have been helping out, and even companies like OpenAI, Google, Anthropic, and Alibaba have been providing infrastructure support. Not official partnerships or anything, but still, it shows that there's a lot of interest in finding new ways to measure what AI can do.
So what's next for MC Bench? Are they sticking with simple building tasks?
Right now they are, but eventually they want to make it more challenging. They want to really test how well the AI can think and adapt by giving them more complex prompts. The goal is to figure out why sometimes AI can ace those academic tests, but then struggle in the real world.
So it's all about making sure that AI can actually, do stuff in the real world, not just solve puzzles.
Exactly. It shows that people are realizing that we need new and creative ways to benchmark AI. We can't just rely on the old metrics. We need to see how AI performs in more dynamic and imaginative situations.
Okay, so the next story. This one involves a pretty big name in movies, David Cronenberg. And there's some controversy about AI being used in a film called The Brutalist.
Yeah, this article is about some things Cronenberg said at the London Soundtrack Festival. He was talking about the criticism aimed at the film The Brutalist, which was directed by Brady Corbett.
So what exactly did they use AI for in the film? What's all the fuss about?
Well, it turns out they used AI tools to improve Adrien Brody's Hungarian accent. He's the lead actor, and, he won the Best Actor Oscar for his performance in the film.
And I guess people weren't happy about that, using AI to change an actor's performance. It raises some ethical questions, right?
Right. People were saying, hey, that's not fair. It's not real acting. What about the actor's skill and artistic contribution? But Cronenberg, he didn't hold back. He basically said, get over it.
So how did he defend the use of AI?
Oh, he was pretty blunt. He called the whole backlash a Harvey Weinstein kind of campaign, basically saying it was a smear campaign by rivals during awards season to hurt the Brutalist's chances.
Wow, that's a serious accusation. But did he actually say anything to support using AI in movies?
Oh, yeah. He said it's just like other things that are already common in filmmaking, like editing an actor's voice. He even mentioned his own film, M. Butterfly, from 1993, where he changed the pitch of John Lone's voice for the character. He said these techniques are just part of the creative process, and we shouldn't freak out just because AI is involved.
And it sounds like The Brutalist did pretty well at the Oscars, despite all the controversy.
It did. The article says it won 3 big awards: Best Actor for Adrien Brody, Best Original Score, and Best Cinematography. So maybe Cronenberg has a point. Maybe it's all a bit overblown.
So what does this whole thing tell us about the bigger picture? I mean, AI is showing up everywhere, including in creative fields like filmmaking.
It definitely highlights the challenges and questions we're facing as AI becomes more powerful. On the one hand, it can be an amazing tool for creativity and innovation. But on the other hand, we have to be careful about artistic integrity and ethical standards. Cronenberg's comments showed just how complex these issues are and how we need to think deeply about how to use AI responsibly in creative fields without taking away from the work of human artists.
Okay, so for our last story today, let's blast off into space. This one's about AI and robotics and how they're playing a bigger and bigger role in space exploration and launching and managing satellites.
This article goes into detail about how AI and robotics are changing everything in space, from letting robots roam around on other planets to making satellite deployment smoother and more efficient.
So let's start with space exploration. How are AI and robotics impacting that?
Well, a big thing is autonomous navigation and exploration. Think about those rovers on Mars, Perseverance and Curiosity. They use AI to navigate, avoid obstacles, spot dangers, and even decide where to go for their research. And the goal is to make even smarter robots that can operate completely on their own in space, which is a pretty hostile environment.
Which makes sense, especially with those huge communication delays when you're dealing with planets that are millions of miles away. What about using resources that are already in space?
That's another big area where AI and robotics are crucial. For any kind of long-term space settlement, we need to be able to use what's already out there. So scientists are developing AI-powered robots for something called in situ resource utilization, or ISRU. These robots would be able to mine and process stuff like water, oxygen, and metals from places like the moon or Mars. That way, we wouldn't have to rely on expensive and complicated shipments from Earth. There's even a project, the Collaborative In Situ Resources Utilization Project, or CISRU, which is all about creating software to make multiple robots work together on these resource extraction tasks.
So beyond just exploring and gathering resources, are AI and robotics also involved in building and maintaining structures in space?
Oh, absolutely. We're already using robotic systems with AI for construction and maintenance in space. There's the Canadarm2 on the International Space Station. That thing helps astronauts with all sorts of stuff, like docking spacecraft and doing inspections outside the station. And looking ahead, we're talking about robots that can actually build habitats on the moon or Mars using materials they find there, and AI-powered systems that can maintain and extend the life of satellites and other space infrastructure.
Okay, let's shift gears to satellite deployment. How are AI and robotics changing that game?
Well, one big impact is efficiency. Now we have automated systems that can launch a bunch of small satellites into their exact orbits all at once. That saves resources and means we don't need humans to do as much. Companies like SpaceX and Amazon are using these advancements for their massive networks of internet satellites.
And once the satellites are up there, does AI still have a role to play?
Definitely. Satellites can have AI on board to process data in real time. This is especially important for Earth observation satellites because they collect tons of data that needs to be analyzed quickly. For example, the European Space Agency has launched AI-controlled satellites that can monitor stuff like pollution and ice melt, which is super valuable for climate research and disaster response.
And with more and more stuff being launched into space, managing all that traffic up there must be getting tricky. What are we doing about that?
It's a growing challenge for sure, and AI is a big part of the solution. We're developing AI systems that can track the paths of satellites and space debris, predict potential collisions, and even suggest changes to orbits to avoid accidents. And AI is also essential for monitoring all that space junk and guiding satellites around it, which is super important for keeping space usable in the long run.
It sounds like AI and robotics are completely changing how we approach space, both in terms of exploration and how we use it.
They are. They're opening up so many new possibilities and making everything more efficient.
Well, that wraps up our AI Daily Deep Dive for today. We've covered a lot of ground, from the potential shakeup of social media to the growing influence of AI in space. It's clear that AI is advancing at an incredible pace, touching practically every aspect of our lives and constantly creating new opportunities and challenges.